The origin of the world and the Titans in Greek mythology. The origin of the world and the Titans in Greek mythology is central to all mythological stories. This story explains how from boundless and boundless chaos arose a slender and ordered universe, where each element found its place. The myths tell of how generations of powerful beings succeeded one after another, from ancient and mysterious forces such as chaos, earth, and sky, to the great Titans who ruled the world until they were overthrown by the young and ambitious Olympian gods. It all began with chaos, the vast and mysterious void that was the beginning of all things. It was a space full of unknowns and hidden potential, where nothing had yet taken shape, but everything already existed in embryo. Gradually, as if awakening from centuries of sleep, the first entities began to emerge from this boundless chaos, each of which carried a seed of the future world order. This is how Gaia, mighty earth, Tartarus, bottomless abyss, Ereb, impenetrable darkness, and Nyukta, ruler of the night, came into being. These ancient forces, like pillars, supported the foundations of the new world about to be born. Gaia, who personified the fertile earth, became the first living being capable of giving rise to new life. Her power and energy led her to give birth to Uranus, the majestic sky, who loomed over her, becoming her eternal companion. Their union was like the fusion of two opposing beginnings that together created something greater than the sum of their parts. From this union were born the first gods, mighty Titans with incredible strength and power over the natural elements. Among these giants stood out such figures as Oceanus, ruler of the watery expanse, Hyperion, lord of light, Kronos, guardian of time, and Rhea, the future mother of the Olympian gods. Each of the Titans had his own unique role in ruling the universe, filling it with power and life, creating harmony and order where before there was only chaos. The Titans were truly mighty and majestic creatures, each with immense power and responsible for their own unique area of nature or space. They were the first divine rulers of the universe whose power extended far beyond human comprehension. Some of the most significant Titans are Oceanus. This great Titan was considered the god of the ocean surrounding the entire world, which served as the source of all the earth's rivers and seas. His power extended to the waters that washed the lands, and he was one of the most respected and honored among his fellow Titans. The ocean symbolized the beginning of all waterways and was an important figure in the cosmological structure of ancient Greece. Hyperion, this Titan was the father of the sun, Helios, moon, Selene, and dawn, Eos. He ruled over light and darkness, as well as the cycles of day and night. Hyperion personified the bright beginning of the universe, giving warmth and life to all living things. His children, the sun and the moon, played a key role in the daily cycle of celestial bodies that illuminate the earth. Kronos is the youngest of the Titans, who later became the ruler of the universe after overthrowing his father Uranus. Kronos was known for his cunning and cruelty, for he was the one who castrated his father in order to seize power. Despite this, however, he remained one of the most important figures in the Greek pantheon, representing the force of time and the inevitability of change. Rhea was the sister and consort of Cronus, and she became the mother of the Olympian gods, including Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Hera, and Hestia. Rhea was a symbol of motherhood and fertility, and her role in giving birth to the next generation of gods made her one of the key figures in the transition of power from the Titans to the Olympians. Uranus' rule did prove to be harsh and oppressive. His fear of his own children, who might one day be strong enough to defy him, forced him to take extreme measures. Rather than allow them to grow and develop, Uranus preferred to hide them back in Gaia's womb immediately after they were born. This act of cruel injustice caused Mother Earth deep resentment and pain. Each new birth turned into a tragedy as the newborn child was once again imprisoned within the earth itself. Gaia was overwhelmed with anger and despair. She saw her children suffer, imprisoned in the darkness and cramped confines of her own body. But her love for them was stronger than her fear of the tyrant Uranus. She realized that she could no longer tolerate this suffering and must find a way to end her husband's tyranny. Eventually, Gaia decided to take a bold step. She called for help one of her sons, the youngest and most cunning, Kronos, who was to play a decisive role in the upcoming events. Kronos agreed to his mother's proposal and began to prepare for the rebellion. He knew that for a successful rebellion he had to act quickly and decisively. Gaia gave him a sharp sickle made of adamantium, the hardest material known at that time. With this weapon, Cronus set out to attack his father. One night when Uranus came to Gaia, Cronus hid in the shadows, waiting for the right moment. As Uranus approached Earth, Cronus jumped out of hiding and struck with his sickle, castrating his father. Uranus' blood spilled onto the ground and drops of blood fell on Gaia, impregnating her. From these drops of blood would later give birth to the Uranes, spirits of vengeance who would pursue criminals and lawbreakers. After Uranus was defeated, Cronus released his siblings from the womb of Gaia. They were now free to live and breathe. However, Cronus was not about to share power with his siblings. He realized that he was now the most powerful and influential god himself, and he wanted to maintain his position. Cronus took Rhea as his wife and became the new ruler. However, he remembered his father's fate and feared that his own children might repeat his act. So every time Rhea gave birth to a child, Cronus swallowed the child to prevent a threat to his rule. When Rhea was finally able to outsmart Cronus, she knew her plan had to be flawless. Her heart ached at the thought of having to give up her newborn son, but she believed it was her only chance to save him and the future generation of gods. After much thought, Rhea came up with an ingenious plan. She took a large smooth stone and carefully wrapped him in diapers, trying to make everything look as much like a newborn baby as possible. Then, when Cronus came to pick up the next child, Rhea held the curl up to him, assuring him that this was her last son. Cronus, unsuspecting, took the bundle and swallowed it without looking, thinking he had destroyed another potential rival. Meanwhile, the real Zeus was secretly sent to the island of Crete, where he was waiting for a caring nanny, Agota Malthea. She fed the little god with her milk, and Caretes, warlike spirits, guarded him, muffling the baby's cries by striking spears against shields so that Cronus would not hear him. So Zeus grew up away from his father's eyes, growing stronger and wiser every day. As the years passed, Zeus grew into a young and strong god, ready to fulfill his destiny. He knew it was time to reclaim what was his birthright, his father's throne. Zeus' first order of business was to free his siblings, whom Cronus had swallowed years before. To do this, Zeus turned to Aita, daughter of Oceanus, known for her wisdom and knowledge of magic. Aita concocted a drink that caused Cronus to vomit out everything he had swallowed. One by one, his children came out of Cronus' womb: Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia. The freed siblings joined Zeus, ready to fight for their rights and restore justice. The outbreak of the war between the Olympians and the Titans, known as the Titanomachy, was a turning point in the history of the world. The decades-long conflict engulfed the entire universe, shaking heaven and earth. The Olympians were joined by many powerful beings, including the Cyclopes and the 100-armed giants, the Hecatoncheires, freed by Zeus from Tartarus. The battles were fierce and bloody. The Olympians used all their strength and abilities to defeat the Titans. Zeus threw lightning bolts, Poseidon caused devastating tsunamis, and Hades used his trident to pierce his enemies. Hera and Demeter supported their brothers using magical powers and strategic thinking. On the side of the Titans fought giants such as Atlanteus, who held the sky on his shoulders, and Prometheus, known for his wisdom and foresight. However, despite their strength and experience, the Olympians proved to be more united and determined. The final battle took place atop Mount Olympus, where Zeus and his siblings came face to face with the remnants of the Titans' army. In this final battle, Zeus unleashed his most powerful lightning bolt, striking his main opponent, Cronus. Defeated, Cronus fell to his knees, recognizing the superiority of his son. After the victory, the Olympians decided to punish the Titans for their crimes. Most of them were cast into Tartarus, the deep world below Hades, where they were to spend the rest of eternity in chains and torment. Only a few Titans, such as Prometheus and Atlanteus, escaped this fate, for they either helped the Olympians or showed prudence and submission. The victory of the Olympians marked the beginning of a new era in the history of the world. Zeus became the supreme god, and his brothers and sisters took important places in the new pantheon. Poseidon received power over the seas, Hades became the ruler of the underworld, and Hera became the wife and companion of Zeus. Thus, the order was restored, and the world entered the epoch of prosperity and harmony under management of Olympic gods, but not all was so good. The main reason for the conflicts between Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon was the struggle for power and influence. Each of the brothers sought to expand their possessions and increase their influence. Zeus, being the oldest and most ambitious, constantly tried to control the actions of his brothers and interfered in their affairs. Poseidon, who had great influence over the seas and oceans, often got into disputes with Zeus over control of coastal territories and islands. Hades, in turn, defended the independence of his kingdom and did not tolerate outside interference. One of the most famous conflicts was over the city of Troy. Zeus, Poseidon, and Athena claimed to patronize the city, and each of them offered their services in exchange for recognition of their authority. The result was a dispute that nearly escalated into open warfare. Poseidon argued that the city should belong to him, since he controlled the sea on which Troy was located. Zeus, in turn, claimed that the city should be under his protection, as he was the supreme god. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, also claimed patronage, promising the people of Troy protection and prosperity. The dispute was eventually resolved by a vote among the citizens of Troy, who chose Athena as their patron. This decision displeased Poseidon, who vowed revenge on the city and its inhabitants. Another cause of conflict between the brothers was their relationship with humans. Zeus, as the supreme god, believed that he had the right to interfere in the affairs of people and decide their fate. Poseidon and Hades, on the contrary, tried to stay away from human affairs and did not interfere in their lives. Sometimes Zeus asked his brothers for help in solving some problems related to people. For example, he could ask Poseidon to cause a storm to hinder his enemies, or ask Hades for advice on the fate of some mortal. Such requests, however, rarely met with understanding and support from his brothers. One of the most famous episodes of the confrontation between Zeus and Hades is the story of Persephone's abduction. Hades, having seen beautiful Persephone, fell in love with her and kidnapped her, taking her to his underworld. Demeter, Persephone's mother, appealed to Zeus for help, demanding the return of her daughter. Zeus, eager to satisfy his sister and restore order, demanded that Hades return Persephone. Hades refused, claiming that Persephone was now his wife and belonged to him. This led to an open conflict between the brothers, which ended in a compromise. Persephone was to spend half the year in the underworld with Hades, and the other half on Earth with Demeter. The conflicts between Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon reflect the complexity of the relationship between the brothers and the desire of each of them to assert their power and influence. Despite numerous disputes and disagreements, the brothers managed to find compromises and maintain the balance of power, which allowed them to jointly rule the world and ensure its stability.